It was 3:17 a.m. when I received the text. Just 5 words. Don't come home yet, please. No punctuation, no explanation, no good night. Just those 5 words. And that's when I knew. I had suspected for weeks, maybe months. The late nights, the way she flipped her phone when I walked in, the new friend group I'd never met. It's just girls' night, she'd say. We're talking, dancing, decompressing. And I wanted to believe her. I really did. But that night, I was out of town for a quick business trip. I wasn't supposed to come back until the morning, but my last meeting was canceled, so I grabbed a late flight. I didn't tell her, planning to surprise her when I got home, walking around 4 a.m., curl up behind her, kiss her neck, and tell her how much I missed her. That was the plan. But plans crumble when a text like that flashes across your screen at 3:17 a.m. and everything goes quiet. I didn't reply, didn't ask questions, didn't spiral. I called her sister instead, Jessica, 3 years younger than her, sharper than people gave her credit for, and one of the few who didn't pretend everything was fine. She answered immediately, like she hadn't been sleeping either. "Jake," she said. I got the text. I told her to pause. There was a long silence. Then she said, "I'll be downstairs in 5. She didn't ask what the text said, or if I was sure. Jessica knew. I think she'd known for a long time. But loyalty is complicated, and she tried to stay out of it. Tried to keep the peace between blood and truth. But that night she made her choice. When she opened the passenger door and slid into the back of the cab with me, she didn't say anything for the first 10 minutes. Then quietly she asked, "Do you want the whole story?" "No," I replied. I want her to tell it. Jessica leaned back in her seat, nodded. "Then let's go get your answer." We arrived just before 4 a.m. I let her out first, then followed. No keys, just a knock. Footsteps on the other side. Slow, hesitant. The door cracked open just enough to reveal her face. Tired eyes, smudged makeup, a hoodie that wasn't hers. Behind her, I caught a glimpse of a shadow moving down the hall. When she saw Jessica standing next to me, her face went pale. She opened her mouth. But before a word could escape, Jessica stepped forward. "Now tell him what really happened." My wife stood there, gripping the doorframe as if it could save her from drowning. She looked between me and her sister, scrambling for some version of the truth she could spit out without choking. "Jake, I didn't know you were coming back tonight," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "I'm here now," I replied. "So go ahead. You said don't come home yet." "Why?" She hesitated, glancing over her shoulder. I saw it again, the shadow, the figure moving just out of sight in the hallway. Her head tilted back slightly as if deciding whether to stall, lie, or slam the door shut and pretend none of this was happening. That's when Jessica spoke again, her voice cold. "He saw someone, didn't he?" My wife didn't say anything, just stood there, gripping the edge of the door like it was her only anchor. She opened the door a little wider, but not to let us in, more like to delay the inevitable. "It's not what it looks like," she said. "Then explain it," I demanded. "You texted me at 3:17 a.m. to not come home, and now you're standing here in someone else's sweatshirt. Please clarify what I'm seeing." She blinked twice, and then the tears started, the convenient kind, the ones that show up when the words fail. "I didn't plan for it to happen like this," she whispered. Jessica scoffed bitterly. "You've been not planning it for 6 months. That's what you told me. Remember that? You didn't mean for it to get this far." My heart stopped. "You knew?" I turned to Jessica. "You knew about this?" "Not like this," she replied quickly. I suspected the phone calls, the disappearances during family events. I confronted her a few weeks ago. She said it was just flirting, that she'd stop. You remember that, right? I nodded slowly, my stomach sinking. I told her if she didn't stop, I'd tell you myself. "So, you waited for her to clean it up?" I asked. "No," Jessica snapped. "I waited to see if she'd come clean. You're my brother-in-law and my friend. I didn't want to destroy you if she was going to fix it herself. But she didn't. Instead of coming clean, she sent me a 5-word text and hit someone in the hallway. She was making him leave. My wife mumbled. "I told him to go before you got here." I nodded. the words bitter in my mouth. How thoughtful. Her face twisted, a mix of guilt, shame, and something else I couldn't even name anymore. I didn't mean to hurt you, she whispered. But you did, I said, cutting her off repeatedly. In this house, in our bed, and you were going to let me walk back into it tomorrow morning like everything was fine, weren't you? I was going to end it, she said, her voice barely audible. End it? Jessica repeated. And what? Rotate men, craft a better lie, or just wait until Jake was too tired to fight. My wife shook her head, trying to twist the narrative. You don't get it, she said, her voice cracking. It wasn't like that. He made me feel seen. You think Jake is perfect, but he's not. He buries himself in work and forgets I'm here. Don't turn this on me, I said, my voice rising now. Don't you dare make this about my work schedule when you had a dozen chances to speak up and chose silence every time. You had options and you chose this. I felt alone, she whispered, looking down. Then leave, I shot back. Leave if you're so lonely. But don't build a second life and expect me to live next to it like an idiot. Jessica stepped between us, her voice a sharp edge. You know what the worst part is? She asked. He still wanted to surprise you tonight. He flew home early. I sat next to him in that cab, watched him hold flowers in his hands like some dumb romantic still believing in you. And you were here with someone else. My wife's eyes dropped to the floor. Get him out of this house, I said, my voice breaking. Now. She didn't move. I said, now. She slowly turned around, walking toward the hall. I heard a door open, then heavy footsteps. He didn't say anything as he walked past us, just kept his head down. Hoodie up, shame in every step. When the door slammed shut behind him, I stepped into the house. It felt smaller now, colder. Even the walls seemed tired of her. Jessica stayed behind me, silent. She knew there was nothing left to say for now. My wife stood at the foot of the stairs. I'm sorry, she said, her voice small. I don't want this to be over. I looked her straight in the eyes. It was over the second you chose someone else and left me out of your truth. Can we talk tomorrow? She asked, but I interrupted. We're done talking. We're done pretending. And we're done calling this a marriage. I walked to the guest room, closed the door, didn't even change, and just lay there staring at the ceiling. I didn't sleep. Not really. I just replayed everything. The text, the hallway, the way she said she was going to end, like that changed anything. The room was quiet, but my head wasn't. I could still hear her voice trying to twist it. Still hear Jessica's words about the flowers in my hands. That part hurt the most. Not because I was embarrassed, but because it was true. I'd flown home early just to surprise her, like an idiot, and she was already living a lie she never planned to stop. Morning came too fast. I heard footsteps outside the guest room, then the smell of coffee. She was trying to reset things, to pretend we were still in that middle ground where a conversation could fix betrayal. She knocked once. Jake. I didn't answer. Another knock. I made coffee. Can we talk now? I opened the door slowly, looked her in the eyes. Where's Jessica? She left early, she said. Didn't say anything that wasn't true. Jessica had texted me at 6:04 a.m. I'll be back around noon. Let her say whatever she needs to say. Then I'll say mine. I nodded, stepping past my wife. I wasn't going to pretend. I'm not sitting down like this is normal. She followed me into the kitchen, hands wrapped around a mug she hadn't even touched. I don't want to lose you, she said. You already did, I replied. You made a mistake. You made a pattern. This wasn't one night. I continued. This was a string of choices. You picked someone else and lied every day after. Do you still love me? She asked, tears filling her eyes. Love doesn't survive lies like this, I said. Not without burning everything down first. I didn't mean for this to happen. She said again, her voice breaking. You keep saying that like it matters. She sat down, trying to look broken, but all I saw was someone who'd finally been caught. Someone who wasn't ready to deal with the consequences. What are you going to do? She asked. Move out, I said. No, you are. Jake, please, she begged. I don't have anywhere to go. You should have thought about that before you texted me at 3 a.m. while hiding a man in our house. He wasn't hiding, she said quickly. He was walking out of my bedroom. I don't need to know him, I said. I know what you did with him. The door opened and there she was, Jessica. She walked in like she owned the place, scanning both of us before grabbing the coffee pot. You're back, my wife remarked, sounding surprised. Of course I am, Jessica replied coolly. I'm not done. She turned to me, locking eyes. Jake, do you want to know how long this has really been going on? I nodded, barely able to keep myself together. Jessica took a deep breath. Almost a year. It started at a friend's birthday party. I wasn't even supposed to be there, but I saw them leave together. When I asked her about it, she said it was nothing, that they were just catching up, but I knew. My wife shook her head in denial. That's not true. You're exaggerating. Am I? Jessica said, unfazed. Because I saw the messages on your iPad the next morning. The ones you forgot to delete. The ones you said were just venting. You're twisting things, my wife argued. No, Jessica snapped. You're the one twisting things. I'm just untying the knot. She took a step closer. He deserves the full truth, not the half version you've been feeding him. I've told him everything, my wife shot back. He already made his decision. Your version? Jessica countered. Want me to tell him mine? With that, she pulled out her phone and tapped the screen. You know what this is? She asked. A screen recording from your iCloud backup. The one you didn't realize synced. My wife went pale. Jessica, stop. No, Jessica said firm. You don't get to play the victim after a year of hiding behind silence. She pressed play and my wife's voice filled the room, laughing, whispering. He's so predictable, safe, boring. Then another voice asked, so, he really has no idea? None, my wife said, sounding smug. I've got him so wrapped up in work and loyalty. He wouldn't believe it even if I told him. Turn it off, my wife begged. Her face drained of color. The context is your voice, I said flatly, and it says everything. She reached her phone, but Jessica yanked it away. Don't touch me, she warned. You made your choices. Now live with them. I turned and walked into the living room, not wanting to hear another word. But they followed me. Jake! Please, my wife pleaded. I'll leave. Just don't hate me. I don't hate you, I said, my back still turned. You're not worth that much emotion anymore. Then what do you feel? She asked, her voice soft, almost pleading. Freedom, I replied and walked away. It only took her 2 days to start spinning her version. 2 days after packing a bag and leaving, I began getting messages from people I hadn't heard from in months. Hey, just checking in. Heard things got complicated. I thought you two had an understanding. Wait, she left? I thought you asked her to stay. That was her version. That I'd been distant, cold, emotionally checked out for a long time, and she'd finally found the courage to leave. Courage. She called it. Sneaking another man into our home, and texted me at 3:17 a.m. not to come back. Jessica had warned me. She's not just going to own it, Jake. She'll twist it, reshape it, make you the one who pushed her away. I don't care what she says, I told Jessica. The people who know me won't believe it. And the ones who don't, the mutuals, Jessica interrupted, the fence-sitters. They'll believe whatever version gets to them first. And Emily was fast. The moment she moved out, she turned into a PR team. Carefully worded texts, long emotional posts about leaving with love, being misunderstood. It was all clean, too clean. So I let Jessica handle it. She had the evidence, recordings, backups, messages, receipts. She started with the friends who hadn't picked a side yet. She didn't blast a recording or attack her sister. She just dropped one message in a group chat. Before you judge anything, listen to this. This is what she was saying about him while wearing his ring. Then she sent the 12-second clip. My wife's voice mocking me. He's so predictable. If I told him I was cheating, he'd probably ask if I was okay first. That was all it took. One line, one perfect moment of betrayal. People switch fast. My phone flooded with apologies. I'm so sorry, man. I didn't know it was that deep. One guy I barely knew messaged me. If I ever catch someone talking about me like that while I'm at work, building a life for them, I hope I handle it like you did. Emily tried to fight it. Of course, claiming the recording was taken out of context, that she was just venting. But the damage was done. The more she explained, the worse it looked. The truth had teeth, and it was biting back. One mutual friend, Taylor, called her out directly. You don't get to lie for a year and then pretend heartbreak makes you innocent. She blocked him, blocked half of them. Her circle shrank, and my piece grew louder. I didn't have to lift a finger. Jessica took care of it all. She didn't do it to destroy Emily. She did it to protect me. The one person who'd been lied to, the one left in the dark while holding flowers for a woman who'd been pretending. One night, I asked Jessica, why'd you really stay that night? Because I saw how you looked at the door when you rang the bell. She said, like you were hoping you were wrong. And I couldn't let you face it alone when I knew you were right. I nodded. You saved me more than you know. No, she corrected me. You saved yourself. I just made sure she didn't get to lie about it afterward. A few days later, Emily tried to reach out, not directly, but through her mom, her cousin, even vague Instagram stories about regret and the cost of silence, but I didn't reply. She wasn't being silent. She was still performing, and I'd already walked out of that theater. Then came the message that ended it all. A screenshot from Jessica. Emily had started talking to someone else. Not the guy I caught her with, but someone new. Guess she moved on fast. I knew she'd never stand still, Jessica wrote. I smiled. I don't think about her much anymore. I replied. Not in the way I used to. Not in the way that keeps you up at night, wondering what you missed, what you could have done differently. Not in the way that makes you question what version of you wasn't enough. That stopped the day I realized I wasn't a failure. I was just a mirror, and she couldn't stand what reflected back. After she moved out and her story crumbled, the silence became the most healing thing I'd felt in years. Not the kind of silence that comes from absence, but the kind you earn after letting go of something that's been weighing you down. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need to humiliate her. She did that herself every time she sent a message or tried to keep up her double life. And if you told me back then that the woman sitting beside me now at 3:27 a.m. in a cab would be the one who truly showed up for me, I wouldn't have believed you. But that's exactly what happened. Jessica didn't just show up that night. She stayed. She became a quiet constant in my life. Someone who never tried to fix what was broken, just made sure I didn't sit in the wreckage alone. She didn't push me. She didn't cross boundaries. She just listened, checked in, called when I didn't respond to anyone else. Over time, things shifted, not dramatically, not suddenly. It started with long talks that didn't feel forced, inside jokes that resurfaced from childhood, coffee runs that turned into walks, walks that turned into hours. One night, months later, we sat on the porch, just the two of us, watching the city lights flicker like the world had finally calmed down. She turned to me and asked, "You're different now. Better or worse?" I looked at her, smiled. "Better?" I said, realizing then that no betrayal could ever take that peace from me. Peace isn't just about forgiveness. It's about clarity. It's about finally seeing people and situations for what they truly are, not the versions we wish they were. Emily had been a performance, a curated fake love. But Jessica, she didn't need an audience. What we have now is real. No secrets, no silence, only trust. And when people ask what happened with Emily, I tell them the truth. Nothing dramatic, nothing cruel, just facts. She texted me at 3:17 a.m. and said, "Don't come home yet." And that's when everything changed, because I didn't come home alone. I came home with Jessica, the one who refused to lie for her, the one who stood beside me when the door opened and who said, "Now tell him what really happened." From that moment on, nothing was ever the same. If you've made it to the end of this, drop a comment. What would you have done at 3:17 a.m.? Would you have stayed quiet or shown up with someone who knew the truth all along? Let me know. And don't forget to subscribe, because next time the truth won't.